So how long does it actually take to build real lean muscle mass? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. For those of you who don't know who I am or who just met, my name is Justin Cutler. I've been a professional coach this is my 15th year. I specialize in helping 90s kids that used to play sports get healthier with minimal space, equipment, and time. And I've helped hundreds of people over the years completely change their body composition by following just a few key principles. And so my goal for you by the end of this video is for you to have proper expectations around what your workouts should look and feel like, what your nutrition should look like, and then a realistic timeline to actually gain real muscle mass. So first, let's get right into it. What your workouts need to look like. Now, you're probably like a lot of people where you have a weight loss journey, right? Or weight loss story. You lost a bunch of weight, so you made some healthy choices to your nutrition. You started doing a lot more cardio. Maybe you picked up walking. Maybe you started doing some spin classes or HIIT classes, but you did a lot of stuff that got your heart rate up and left you feeling very sweaty. First of all, great job, because I'm sure that took a lot of work. This is just as much about unlearning something as it is about learning something. So what we need to unlearn is what workouts really should start to feel like as you're going more into muscle building. I'm not saying you can't be sweaty and out of breath, but when we're trying to build muscle, we're going less for working our heart and lungs and trying to burn calories, and more going for muscle breakdown. And so in spin classes and your boot camps, you're doing a lot of quick movements and you're doing a lot of short rest periods because you're trying to burn lots of calories. When it comes to muscle building, we are actually doing the exact opposite in a lot of ways. We're slowing movements down. We're doing a lot of what's called time under tension, when we're really going for a good squeeze each rep and a good stretch. So the pace is much slower. And also, we need to rest in between sets, because in order to maintain the quality of those contractions for every single set, we need to let our body recover. And I wanted to start off with this because too often people make the mistake of going into their muscle building journey and maybe they start drinking a protein shake. So they might take a step in the right direction, but their workouts still look like they're trying to lose weight. They're still doing lots of HIIT style stuff. It's not that you're not building any muscle doing that, but you're definitely way away from this end of the spectrum of building muscle. And so we need to start tilting that needle towards muscle building. Now, in terms of what kinds of splits, that's not what this video is for, but I will just briefly say there is no perfect split. It's more based on your preferences, your training style, and your schedule. I will say that I mostly veer towards full body, just because the research has shown it's just as, if not even more effective than like your back and bicep, chest and tricep type classic split. And also it's a little more doable for people that only go to the gym 2 to 3 days a week. I digress from that though, because again, that's not what this video is for. And then in terms of frequency, again, it really depends on where you're coming from. If you're doing no strength training, you have to understand that going to even 2 30-minute strength training sessions a week, you're looking at doubling your output with your strength. That will make a big difference in the beginning. I would say after the first 3 months or 6 months, somewhere in there, you're gonna wanna bump it up to 3 days a week as a new minimum. But again, if you're coming from 0, 2 days a week is gonna make a big difference in the beginning. All right, next, we need to know what our nutrition needs to look like. So we're still eating healthy foods, we're still eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and you're probably eating some protein. But in order to build muscle, we need to have enough calories in our body on a regular basis to actually repair the muscles that you're working hard to build in the gym. Because in case you didn't know this, you're not building muscle in the gym. You are breaking it down, you're causing a deficit. And only through adequate sleep and nutrition are you able to actually build new muscle mass. And so an analogy I have that I like to share around this concept is, imagine you have a house and you want to build a new room onto your house. It would be crazy for you to start ripping drywall out of your garage to build the new addition. You know that it doesn't work that way. You actually have to go to Home Depot, probably a lot more than you want to, and get new materials to build that new addition, right? You have to have additional materials. Well, the same can be said about muscle building. You need to ingest new materials, aka extra calories, especially from protein, in order to support the new muscle mass you're trying to grow. And then to stretch that house analogy even further, once your new addition, your new bedroom is built, your utility bills every month are going to go up. You're going to have to pay more to now sustain that new addition onto your house. And so with your calories, you're not dieting down anymore. You are slowly but surely increasing your calories, because not only are you going to have to eat more calories to build the muscle, like the utilities example, you're going to have to consistently have a higher number of calories to build and maintain that muscle mass. And I know if you're coming from the weight loss world, so did I. I was an overweight, unathletic kid, and so initially the thought of eating more food was super scary to me. I was so afraid of gaining weight. And the thing is, you might gain a little bit of weight initially, but you're trying to gain muscle mass. Like, think about how crazy that sounds. You're trying to gain muscle, but you don't want to gain weight. Let me pose a hypothetical question. If you were to gain, let's say 5 or 10 pounds, but you had the body that you expected to have at a lighter weight than that looked and felt great, would you take that? The answer is probably yes. And so even though you spent all this time tracking your body weight, looking at that every single day or every single week, whatever that cadence was for you, as a really important metric of your success, you're going to have to loosen your grip on the scale as you are building muscle. Otherwise, it's going to play tricks on you. So to get a little more tactical around nutrition, I want you to do a couple things. Number one is track your food. I like MyFitnessPal. You can do the free version. It's fine. It's enough for what you need. Get a $20 digital food scale from Walmart or Amazon and start measuring how much protein you're having. And then from that number, I want you to take your goal body weight and multiply it by either 0.3, 0.5, 0.75, or 1, depending on how much protein you're having now. And then that is your new protein target, okay? So let's say, for example, you're averaging 50 grams of protein a day, which is not unusual. It's not uncommon. And your goal body weight is 150 pounds, right? So you're already at that 30% mark. So the 0.3 protein target's not going to work for you. You're going to go up to 0.5, which would bring you up to 75 grams of protein a day. And that may sound like a lot, but listen, if you're eating 4 times a day, I mean, we're talking an extra egg at breakfast. We're talking maybe an extra ounce of meat, which is not a lot of meat. We're talking like a quarter cup of meat. Okay, and so you're slowly adding, and what you will start to find is you are actually going to be building the muscle that you've been wanting to build by adding more protein. And protein intake is a lot like strength training. It takes time because your long-term target, 6 months out, 12 months out, even longer than that, is to be eating close to, if not at, your body weight in grams of protein. So if your goal body weight is 150 grams, or 150 pounds, then we're going to want to be working up towards eating 150 grams of protein a day. You may not need to eat exactly that, but the sooner we can break 100 grams of protein a day, you're just going to notice a lot more results, and also it's going to make it a lot easier for you to maintain the muscle that you're working hard to build. Okay, let's wrap this up by setting a realistic timeline. Now, contrary to all of the crazy marketing that we are all inundated with, real muscle takes real time. You will not gain 5 pounds of muscle a month or 10 pounds or whatever the crazy shirtless guru was promising you. He or she just wants you to buy their stuff, I promise you. Real muscle mass, it depends on several factors. I will share a general timeline that you can expect, but it depends on your training age, which means how long have you been doing resistance training, because the longer you've been doing it, the better your contractions tend to be, and so the more efficiently you build muscle. Obviously your intake, if you're struggling with eating more protein, that's going to hold you back from building muscle, and lots of other factors. I will generally say a half pound a month is an aggressive rate of muscle gain. Half pound a month. So that means in a year, you are maxing out at 6 pounds of muscle, which may not sound like a lot, but 6 pounds of muscle, I mean, look at a deck of cards. That's about the size of a pound of muscle, and you're adding 6 of those to your body. So you will absolutely notice more definition in your arms. You'll notice the upper back muscles. You'll probably get that little quad bump, maybe some rounded shoulders in your first year. Now, some of you may get faster results than that. Some of you may get slower results than that. But here's the reality and what I want to end this video with. Fast forward a year. Oh man, I'm only going to gain 6 pounds in a year. Is this even worth it? That year is going to pass whether you devote this time to muscle building or not. The question is, do you want to be closer to where you ultimately want to be a year from now? Or do you want to be repeating these same conversations a year from now? Oh, I know, I'm trying to build muscle, but eating more protein is hard, am I right? Yeah, it totally is. But so is anything in life worth having. You can do it because millions of other people have done it, and with probably more working against them. You just have to follow these few key principles. Working out 2 to 3 days a week with good resistance training. Working up to closer and closer to your goal body weight in grams of protein. And just sticking to it for the long term. I hope this helps. Feel free to share this with someone that's also trying to build muscle. And I promise you this, that it may be tempting to lean out, and I'm just going to get leaner. I'm just going to get smaller, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to set your body up for long-term injury prevention and sickness prevention, for long-term toneness and leanness, I can promise you that the sooner you can start making these deposits towards muscle building, you will set yourself up for a much healthier way of life in the future. We'll see you for the next video.